I thanked him for everything. He thanked me for everything. I told him that I love him. He told me that he loves me.
Welcome to the Tea Drop, where the brew is strong and there's lots to talk about. Paul Heyman just sat down with Chris Van Vliet for about 2 hours and dropped stories that wrestling fans are going to be talking about for the next few weeks, even content creators and so on and so forth. Some people are mad that people are making clips about this. Well, we're going to talk about it. I pulled every single Brock Lesnar beat from this interview because honestly, the Brock stories alone could fill their own documentary when it comes to the story of Paul Heyman. So let's get into this drop. So strap in, guys. Here's where it gets really interesting. Heyman was supposed to come back at WrestleMania 18 to manage someone else that wasn't Brock Lesnar. That was the original plan, but the night before WrestleMania, Vince pulled him aside and said that instead of that person, he was going to work with Brock Lesnar. So let's hear him out.
Where did the idea of him debuting with you even come from?
Wow, think about it, Paul.
I don't know how much of this will have to be edited. I was actually scheduled to come back at that WrestleMania 18.
Yep.
Because you had called WrestleMania 17.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then was the color commentator for Jim Ross through Survivor Series.
Mm-hmm.
Then WWE defeated the Alliance and I was off camera.
Yeah.
I was coming back on camera, WrestleMania 18, to manage. I hate that word. And that was where we were headed. And
so this is like, like late. It's so early 02. Okay.
Okay.
Brock was very impatient in OVW and moved back to Minneapolis and told WWE, put me on the main roster of company list.
Typical Brock.
So he was bringing
Gotta love
Brock
him.
Lesnar in for dark match. Brock standing in the middle of the ring during the afternoon, and all these old timers are there. Jack Lanza, Tony Gurria, the previous regime of producers.
Of course.
And it's the same thing. Just stand in the middle of the ring, kid. You'll be fine. Let everybody bounce off of you. Don't move too much. He should be a Russian. He's an NCAA Division I heavyweight champion. Look at his combine numbers. Look at what he can do. Look at his leaping ability.
And you want him to be a Russian? What?
Have you ever seen anyone move like that, let alone someone of that size move like that?
Oh my God.
And listen to his name. You couldn't think of a better name for a fighter. Brock Lesnar. And you want him to be a Russian? And Taz brought him over to me because Taz was such a huge fan of Brock's amateur career. And Taz said, hey, brother, they're going to screw this up. You got to get involved in this over here. Because Taz had experienced that with me in ECW when he was the Taz Maniac.
Yeah.
And we turned him into the MMA fighter Taz. Taz was the first person in pro wrestling that started having people tap out. So I went to Vince and I said, hey, we have a heavy investment in Brock Lesnar. We're going to screw this up. Damn it. Do something about that. Over his matches. You produce them. So I started producing his matches, and we just went by the theory of simple, spotlighted, singular. He just kept his matches to that.
Believe it or not, that worked. When he did simplistic presentation for early days Brock, that's all you needed. No theatrics at all. It worked for Brock.
It would resonate. It would translate to the audience. And in that, we found a chemistry with each other that was undeniable. And Vince experienced it in the room with us at one point. And the night before WrestleMania 18, Vince pulled me aside and he said, this whole thing with Benoit's called off. Okay? Putting you with Brock Lesnar.
Okay.
Happy to be of service. Because I knew this is a once ever opportunity.
Yeah.
And that's a once ever athlete.
Yep.
And this would be a once ever act.
You know what's the moment?
It's perfect because those two always worked well together. Their chemistry is undeniable, and I don't think there'll ever be something that close ever again. You can say Tribal Chief and Paul Heyman, but that's a whole separate style of act. That is not an advocate and wrestler. So it's a whole different category, them two, which is also great. But this is a one in a lifetime. Here is where we learn about the way Heyman says about Brock Lesnar's name, which became iconic because a lot of people followed through. No one says Brock Lesnar straight up. talk about Brock Lesnar, it's always in the way that Heyman's presented. So let's hear his origin stories for that.
Feedback, and I'm listening at all times.
How did it become a thing the way you say Brock Lesnar's name? Because there's a lot of fans out there that can't just say Brock Lesnar. They say Brock Lesnar.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's all branding. I mean, that's all a matter of what is the emotion that you want to convey. It's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Okay.
I tell that to everybody. You know, the first thing, if someone comes up to me with a script and they say, these are the words, the very first thing I do is I say, oh, you ready? Tell me what you need to do. Tell me your assignment. Did I just completely screw up your notes there?
Okay. We're just going to hang out anyway.
When Joey Styles first came to ECW, Joey Styles would say, we are here live at the ECW arena. Stop, cut, break. If you go to Rome and you go to the Sistine Chapel and you look at Michelangelo's work on the ceiling, do you sit there and say, I'm here at the Sistine Chapel. Michelangelo painted that. No, I'm here at the Sistine Chapel. Look at this ceiling was painted by Michelangelo on his back for 5, 10, 15 years, whatever the story is.
Did they purposely change the microphone?
Say it like you're saying Yankee Stadium. Say it with such honor and prestige that it carries weight. So Joey Styles would say, we're here live at the ECW arena. And it's looking up.
Wow.
Because it's majestic. It's operatic. So it's never looking down the ECW arena. It's the ECW arena. So everything that you want is about the manner in which you present it. I used to call it the dog and the cookie.
Dog and the cookie.
Hey, you have a dog?
Yeah.
Her name's Luna.
So if you go home tonight and you say to that dog, do you want a cookie? Do you want a cookie?
No, he doesn't.
Okay, that's great. You know what? Do you want a...
I know where he's getting at. It's the way you present it to the puppy is how they emotionally react. Yep.
A lump of shit? Would you like a lump of shit? And in the same way, if you say, do you want a cookie? Dog's gonna run away from the cookie.
Yeah.
So it's not the fact that you go cookie, it's how you say the word cookie. Same thing with Brock Lesnar. It's not, as I once teased on a viral video with Bruce Buffer, it's Brock Lesnar. It's not supposed to invoke happiness. It's not supposed to invoke hope. It's not supposed to invoke a hero's identification within your spirit. It's supposed to be violent and guttural and something that instills fear just in hearing the name. It's not Brock Lesnar. It's Lesnar.
I get it.
It's that level of intensity that is brought with the name that makes you understand who that person is without ever having to see him or what he can do.
When you're managing someone on screen,
I gotta say that's brilliant. Besides the fact that he compares how you present a name, he compared it to Joey Styles announcing the ECW arena. I think makes a perfect sense. All these announcers, how they present arenas, if the way you present it evokes a level of emotion because of the way you honor it or give it prestige, so it carries some weight when you present it, and it gives you like a meaningful pride of being there. And I guess that you take that way the same way you say Brock Lesnar's name. It's the same thing with his name. It's not supposed to invoke happiness or hope the way you say it. When he compared it to the dog and cookie formula. It's not how you say it happily or how you just say it. If you say it with a happy tone, it gives people a happy feeling. But if you give it an angry tone, it scares people. So doing the Brock Lesnar the way he does it, it invokes violence, guttural violence, fear, something that instills all that fear just in hearing his name or hearing his song as he comes out. The moment that's the moment he started talking about Brock Lesnar in that manner is what helped the credibility of Brock Lesnar. Okay.
And in that, we found a chemistry with each other that was undeniable. Okay.
He's a beast.
And that's a once-ever athlete. And this will be a once-ever act.
Now let's talk about the moment that made people realize Brock Lesnar, for the most part, was different. It wasn't a move. It wasn't a match. It was a moment. It was that chair shot from Jeff Hardy. Didn't even face Brock Lesnar as far as I recall. Either he stepped a little or maybe he just stood, I think he just stood still and just kicked his ass. Let's see how Heyman reacts to this.
This will be a once ever act.
You know what's the moment that I feel like made people realize Brock Lesnar's different? So he arrives and people go, that he's a beast, he's gigantic. But that chair shot from Jeff Hardy that doesn't even faze him?
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yes. Leap, conquer, repeat. Brock Lesnar.
It's like one of the hardest chair shots I've ever seen. And he's just like stumbles for half a second and then just keeps going. All right. What a debut.
Mondo from Blazing Saddles.
What a reference. Yeah.
Not Mondo.
You can't put knocks out the horse.
So if anyone has not seen Blazing Saddles, there was a guy called Mondo who walks into the bar in that movie. He cleans out the whole bar for some reason. I forgot why he knocked. And then he eventually, as Paul Heyman said, he knocks out the horse. He punches them. That is a perfect representation of that chair shot moment with Brock Lesnar and Jeff Hardy.
Walks into the bar, cleans out the whole place. Mongo.
Now, Brock Lesnar ending the Undertaker streak at WrestleMania 30, Heyman's expression, to the most part, was perfect. The perfect moment because it pretty much represented everyone's gasp at what we just witnessed. Now, I think Chris Van Vliet ends up asking, was it rehearsed, that reaction, or not? So let's hear how Paul Heyman reacts to this.
They're ending Undertaker's streak. At WrestleMania 30, your expression was perfect. You were all of us. And I'm curious, how much thought did you put into that exact expression that you would have on camera?
None. I lived in the moment.
He improvised. He improvised.
Brock and I both like to live in the moment.
Yeah.
I tried for years to tell Brock what I was going to say on my promos. He would never want it. I'll hear it out there. I'll react to it organically. It'll be authentic. It'll be genuine. So when Brock was standing next to me and I would cut our promos, the reaction that you saw from Brock Lesnar was very real because he didn't know what I was going to say. He's just reacting to it. That's Brock. When I'm out there, I'm in the skin of that persona. I'm living the life of the advocate for Brock Lesnar.
Okay.
He conquered the unconquerable. He created a moment that was unfathomable to most. He achieved the holy grail in WWE.
Bigger than a belt.
Bigger victory than any championship Brock could have won. It was a bigger victory than beating any champion or any legend.
True.
He conquered the Undertaker's undefeated streak, which had been going on for 25 years.
Yeah.
Everyone watching that match from the time the bell rang said, the scorecard is going to read, the scoreboard is going to read 22-0. No doubt.
Yeah.
Fait accompli.
Yeah.
As if the match were predetermined. And yet, when that 21-1 hit,
that crowd was dead.
How could you be anything but shocked? And even the person closest to Brock, the strategist behind the conquering, the one behind the one in 21-1.
He's still promoting as we speak.
Even he not be absolutely shocked at what just transpired in front of him. Just a natural reaction.
You talk about how
bigger victory than a championship belt, that's for sure. Brock eventually did win another belt after that, but till this day, his destruction of the Undertaker streak is still one of the biggest moments in WrestleMania history, and it's bigger than any championship moment he's had, honestly. And here's the thing, Brock never, which I thought was interesting, never knew what Heyman was going to say in this promos. I always thought they had some idea, but he improvised all that. That's something new that I didn't know. He refused beforehand, and in order to make the reaction organically, which makes sense, it makes everything genuine between their promos, and it feels less scripted, which honestly, I can never feel their promos ever feel scripted or there was a script involved. I think, to me, I thought they always had a plan. It's like, we're going to go out there, we're going to do this and this and leave. Now, did words verbatim like a script? I knew they would never do that, but to the point that Brock didn't know what Paul was going to say? Brilliant. Brilliant. I think that's brilliant. Now let's get to the emotional core of what's going to be mostly this video. It's the WrestleMania 42 moment between Brock and Heyman. Chris asks what was said during their embrace, and let's hear what he has to say.
What a beautiful moment you and Brock Lesnar shared at WrestleMania 42. Can you take me into the ring? What was the conversation that you guys shared during that long embrace?
I thanked him for everything. He thanked me for everything. I told him that I love him. He told me that he loves me.
Aww.
And then I asked him if he finds it funny that the two of us are standing in the middle of the ring, in the middle of a stadium, in the middle of WrestleMania, being broadcast all over the world on ESPN, telling each other that we love each other. I said, "Is this kind of a surreal moment?" And he goes, "Fuck him. Don't worry about that. This is just for us." Okay, my beast.
Okay, my beast. Okay. That's hilarious.
Happy to participate in the moment. It was just a very
Did he ask about the retirement?
Not hesitant to share with the rest of the world. It was a very emotional moment, and it was just very. It was very personal. I talk for a living, and I find it hard to convey in words
what happened.
That was like. It was just a moment that happened and was true.
It's one of the few times I feel like we saw the real Brock Lesnar. Like the character seemed stripped away for those few moments. Him getting up on the turnbuckle and thanking the crowd. It's not something the character of Brock Lesnar would ever do. It felt really special.
It was. And it was genuine. It was just an authentic moment, and it was Brock saying thank you on his own timetable when he felt like saying it, which is Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar does what Brock Lesnar wants to do, and Brock Lesnar wanted to say thank you in that moment, and so he did.
And I guess that it was a moment to say thank you, but it wasn't a retirement. Brock Lesnar is still competing.
Indeed, he is.
So
was it a retirement?
What do we make of that moment? What should we make of that moment?
What should we call
42?
It? Yeah. Well, he's not going to tell us.
I remember how I felt. I'm an audience member. I remember how I felt watching it. I remember what that moment was. I remember all that it encompassed. And I would be appreciative of the fact that I got to live that moment and experience it and hold it in my data bank as a fan.
You've managed.
He's not. He freaking avoided that question with a passion. He didn't tell us whether it was genuinely Brock retiring that moment or were they playing us. He's never going to tell us. We won't know probably till years later, or we're just going to hear snippet stories and we're never going to get the true answer. But once again, whether that moment was truly Brock Lesnar retiring or not retiring or wasn't retiring, we will never know at this point. Maybe it's showing up on Unreal. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Here's one of the last things we'll pick up, and I think it's a very important one, which will be, would Brock have been successful without Paul Heyman? Let's see. I believe he would, but let's see what Heyman says directly.
Is obviously tremendously talented, incredible athlete without Paul Heyman.
Brock Lesnar would still be massively successful.
Yeah. Of course.
I wonder what Paul Heyman's career would look like without Brock Lesnar. My legacy in my early days was the Dangerous Alliance in WCW.
Paul E. Dangerously.
The work I put in with ECW. I came out of ECW and I'm in WWE. And what would my legacy have been in WWE? Well, that certainly changed when I got put with Brock Lesnar. And then to the point where just me sitting on a couch with Roman Reigns because I'm Brock Lesnar's advocate was an incredible shift in the dynamic in WWE because you couldn't imagine Brock Lesnar's advocate with another top star like Roman. What would Brock Lesnar's career have been?
Successful still?
Successful, just not the same as it was. We are a very unique pairing. And
yes.
We work
that's facts. I don't think it'll ever be replicated, their pairing.
Well together behind the scenes, and that transpires on camera. There's a camaraderie. There's a trust between us. There's a pursuit of greatness amongst us that permeates the screen. And there's a closeness to us that you can sense as we bounce off of each other. And it works. And we're in sync with each other when he's performing in the ring. Would he have been fine without Paul Heyman? Absolutely. Brock Lesnar is the modern day Jim Thorpe.
Wow.
He's the greatest athlete on the face of the... There's no one like Brock Lesnar.
That's a beautiful compliment.
And he is the most underappreciated, underrated worker I have ever seen in my life.
That whole question right there was amazing because Chris Van Vliet asked specifically, a question, and Heyman, typical Heyman fashion, he flips it. What would his career look like without Brock? His ECW legacy as Paul E. Dangerously maybe would have been different. His WWE legacy changed completely when he got put with Brock. More memorable in the good way. And that's what made him right there sitting on the couch talk about it, because you couldn't imagine Brock Lesnar's advocate with another top star, to be honest. Now, when it comes to Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar, a few things can be true at the same time. Brock Lesnar would have been a star without Paul Heyman. And Paul Heyman's career as we know it doesn't exist as we know it in WWE without Brock Lesnar. They are a once ever pairing with a once ever athlete in a one and only act that we will probably not be able to replicate. They had also even a Cesaro missed opportunity in the interview that they talked about. Heyman's own words when it comes to that, calling it a crime that he couldn't get the opportunity to work with that. That's a story for another drop though. Now, as always, let me know what you guys thought of this Brock Lesnar segment with Paul Heyman and Chris Van Vliet. Did Brock and Heyman change each other's legacies, or would they have gotten here separately? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, if the T hit right, hit the like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video.